Well, first of all, welcome to the BFI Film Festival and congratulations on your film. I guess for the viewers, it would be good if you could start off with a brief synopsis of the film.
Here is a sort of lyric road movie romance about an American satellite mapping engineer working in Armenia who meets an expatriate art and landscape photographer, and they impulsively decide to travel together, and the film kind of chronicles their brief but affecting romance as they move through this very foreign landscape.
And why Armenia? I mean, with road movies, generally you kind of associate it with America. So why there?
Well, for a movie about mapping, and about exploration, I really wanted to go somewhere that was a little bit of a blank slate, both for me personally as a filmmaker, but also for the audience. And I wanted there to be a kind of expedition quality to the film, to go somewhere new.
And I read some articles and it was said that the country was suggested to you, is that right? And then you went over there and just thought, yes, this is the place, or?
Yeah, I had sort of developed the film for a number of years before sitting down to write the script, writing notes and coming up with ideas and just sort of feeling my way through it, but felt like I wanted to nail it down to its location before actually getting to the nitty-gritty of the story. And Armenia was suggested to me by a Armenian filmmaker actually named Garine Tarosian, who said, I might be wrong, but I think this might be an interesting place for you to look at for this film that's about how we kind of orient ourselves in the world. And what I found there when I traveled there was just this completely breathtaking and unique landscape and culture that ultimately became like another collaborator on the film. I think it really plays a role in the movie.
Do you think it plays a larger role, say, than the actual cast or the screenplay? It plays possibly the biggest role in the film?
I wouldn't say that Armenia is the biggest role in the film, but it's certainly maybe on an equal platform to the story, certainly to the story and to the actors. I think it's the experience of moving through this country and this landscape is a big part of what the film is about for the viewer, and so I do think it's kind of on an equal plane, maybe more than most narrative films.
And do you think it's going to do good things for the film culture over there?
I hope so. A number of our crew members have gone on to work on other productions throughout the Caucasus, and we were the first kind of relatively major American film that had been made there. We're a small independent film, but by the standards there, it was a relatively large movie, and I'd like to think that it inspired, more people to follow in our footsteps. It's a place that definitely there should be 1,000 films made there, and I hope that happens.
Are you planning on any more?
Am I planning on going back to Armenia? Probably not for the next one. I've made films in Alaska, I've been to South America, I've now been to the Caucasus, and there's always, the draw of something new. Armenia is a place that I feel like has transcended just being a location that I made a film. I've got a lot of friends there now and a lot of very deep connections, and I'm sure I'll go back for personal reasons, but I think I'm probably on to a different area for the next one.
And do you have a favourite scene in the film? Something that you're really proud of or that you didn't think?
It's actually remarkable that I don't get asked that more often, I suppose. Finish your question, though.
I was going to say, did you have sort of something that you'd written and maybe you didn't think it was going to come out as well as it did, sort of a surprise scene, or?
I feel like there's a number of aspects of the film that I feel very proud of, and one of them is probably this experiential quality to it that I mentioned. It's sort of more. I think when someone really clicks with the film, it's more like being in that car with the characters than a film that's about being in that car with the characters. And there's a number of scenes between these two main characters, Will and Gadarine, that I'm very proud of. A very sweet scene with them at a hot springs that they come across. And there's actually also an argument that they get into that I think is incredibly well acted, and that I feel proud of the writing of. But
and what about the music?
Well, I was just going to say, though, overall, the fact that we were able to make this film under the conditions we made it in Armenia is probably the thing that I'm the most gratified by, and the experience that it was for myself and for the crew. In terms of the music, music's a huge part of my work. I've been working with a composer named Michael Krasner for about 20 years, and we actually record music all along the way while I'm writing the script, and
So it's not just at the end, he was there at the very beginning of the film from the...
Yeah, exactly. Michael was working with me from the very beginning, and we actually brought a number of musicians from the U.S. over to Armenia after I wrapped production, and a lot of the soundtrack was recorded in actual locations that were shot for the film. So the National Art Gallery, we recorded some music in there, and the Gadarine's brother's apartment, and sort of non-traditional settings that I think kind of feed into the tone of the music that ultimately gets placed into the movie.